Alright, dudes and dudettes, it's Sudiaku Masaska, also known as the Skillless One. Today I wanted to run through some duels that I saved while running through ranked. Been having a lot of fun playing my Adamancipator deck, but I've also had some people asking questions about like how to play them properly, whether you go first or second, because I've told people that you can play them either first turn or second turn, and they work both ways. So I got a couple of examples of that, and then I have an example of a duel that I did where I just constantly made mistakes that are easy to miss when playing Adamancipators. So we're going to run through the two duels where we go first, and then we go second, and we kill them on the... Or when we go first, and we kill them on the punchback on turn 3, and then when we go second, we're going to try and avoid being negated and return things back to the opponent's hand and kill them in one turn, virtually an OTK. So we'll start with the punchback duel, because this is where we start on turn 1, where the main mission is to summon Appaloosa and Risen Dragite, so that we can negate monster effects and magic and trap cards. This rank duel was against a person whose name I cannot read. I don't even know if that's actually a name. It just looks like random characters. Alright, so to start off with, we have a really good hand for Adamancipators. We have 2 tuners. Most of the time, if you have 2 tuners, doesn't matter which 2, you're going to have a good game. Because Adamancipators live and die by the tuners and the extra deck. So, probably we're looking for here, we definitely want to summon Analyzer with the normal summon. Because if we summon Overlord, or Overload, we can only summon Researcher, because Analyzer's effect only allows it to summon itself when the opponent controls monsters, and we're on turn 4. So we're going to start with Analyzer. Then we're going to summon Researcher, because we control a Rock-type monster. Now, here we're looking for a means of getting as many monsters on the field as possible, because we need to summon a Link 4 and a level 8 Synchro. And the Link 4 we want to use 4 materials, so that we have 4 negates. So we're going to use the field spell here. We're not going to activate it, but we are going to play it. We're looking for a level 4 here. It doesn't really matter which level 4. We'll take anything. As long as we don't end up with Doki Doki or... oh, we screw up on the first one. Analyzer doesn't get anything, which is amazing. Now we need Doki Doki, because we need to chuck this Overload to get another card, which we will get. Get a wall. We're going to go 2 into 4 to summon Riptide. The reason we go into Riptide here and not Gallic Granite is because Riptide allows us to possibly get the last of the 3 tuners off of a pull, or we could get another level 4 and we can go Analyzer into level 4 to make Gallic Granite to get it anyways. So this gives us 2 chances at getting the tuner, as opposed to the 1 chance we would get of just using Gallic Granite and then summoning it and then hoping we get what we need to get to Dragite. So we're going to activate Riptide's effect, which is essentially the same as the tuners, except he can also summon the tuners. We get a really lucky pull here. We do get the level 4. We also get the level 4 that lets us draw. And here is the awesome part. We have drawn Seeker, which is perfect. This means we do not need Gallic Granite, because Granite can only pull them into the hand, and we've already had Researcher's effect activate, and Seeker's effect will be activated because we already have it in our hand. So we don't need it anymore, which means we can go right into Dragite with our level 4 tuner and our level 4 monster. So we summon Dragite, and then we're going to summon Seeker off of his effect because we control an Adamancipator, and then he's going to search for a monster. It does not matter what monster we get as long as we get one. We get a monster, now we have 4 materials. Oh wait, I forgot. So when I summoned the Crystal Riptide, it gave me the ability to take a Adamancipator from my graveyard and put it on the top of the library. We put Researcher, because we need Researcher to search for a card next turn, and we're going to have Dragite, hopefully. And if we don't, we can still just summon Researcher and use it anyways. So we're planning for the punchback here. We put Researcher back in the deck using Crystal Riptide's effect, and now we're going to use the field spell to guarantee that Researcher's all going to be on the top, and the card right underneath Researcher will be the Crystal Dragite, because Crystal Dragite, when it's summoned by an Adamancipators effect, gives us one card off the top of the deck. So we'll be going +2 there off of that, which is really efficient at making monsters, especially with the amount of special summonings. So we're going to put Researcher there, and then we're going to use Lab Tide to put the top 2 cards we need, plus a bunch of tuners that we don't want to be on the top when we look for cards. Because we're most likely going to summon Riptide again next, or on turn 3. So we use the 4 monsters we have. We're going to go into Appaloosa, Boa the Goddess. Her ability is that once per, I think, chain. Actually, no, we can just read it straight out. The original attack of this card is 800 times the number of Link monsters, which is why we wanted to use 4, because that puts her at 3,200. Each time you activate her effect, it is once per chain. Okay, your opponent activates a monster effect. You can take 800 of her attack points away and negate the activation of the effect. So this is a total lockdown of monster effects. If you use 4 material, you can lock down 4 monster effects in one turn if you want. And Dragite, as long as we have his crystal in the graveyard, which we do, he negates monster or magic and trap effects once per turn. So we've got something that stops monsters and something that stops magic and traps. This is the second best board presence we can have on turn 1. The best would be if we also had the trap card that we play that negates another magic and trap effect that targets the monsters we have. So we'd have 2 magic and trap negates and 4 monster negates. So this is a pretty good turn 1 start. And we've already set up for turn 2 using the field spell. We're going to negate this effect right out the gate because I don't want him to summon anymore, which is what he was going to do with that. So we stop that, and then he now has to play around it. He plays a card face down, and then ends his turn. Now here's the fun part about playing Dragite. Normally, we would be very concerned with what this card is. But as long as Dragite's here, we don't actually care. Because no matter what it is, Dragite can negate it. So we're not worried about it stopping our summonings or anything like that. And he doesn't have another monster effect that he can activate, so we don't need Appaloosa anymore. And we get Researcher off the top because we put her there. We activate Researcher's effect to summon himself. Then we activate her second effect to pull the Dragite crystal that we put right underneath her using the field spell. We get to draw a card off of that, which gives us Doki Doki. We still have not used our normal summon. We actually did this without planning to get Doki Doki. We just needed a monster. It did not matter which monster, as long as it was a monster. We have officially guaranteed game the second we drew this monster. Because we are going to go into Riptide. Or, no, sorry, my bad. We're going to Half the T-Rex, that's right, because we drew a monster. If we didn't draw a monster, we would have gone into Riptide to try and get one of our other tuners to get another monster. But we did get a monster, so we go right into Half the T-Rex, who summons another tuner. He tries to stop us with, because this is the first monster we summoned with 1500 or more attack. He tries to stop us with Bottomless Trap Hole, but like I said earlier, Dragite's just going to negate that. We don't actually feel threatened by this trap card at all, because we knew we could stop it if we needed to. And then Halka Febrax was summoned, probably Seeker, yep. Seeker's abilities are negated because he was summoned by Halka Febrax. We summoned Doki Doki. We now control Halka Febrax, who's a -2/+2. So we go into our other Link 4. We're summoning Boral Sword Dragon, who is our OTK machine. And then we're activating Dragnite's effect, reveal top 5. If there's a monster card there, for each monster card we can return a card on their side of the field to their hand without targeting. And then we have damage. We have, let's see, Boral Sword can attack twice, so that's 6,000. We got Dragite, who's 3,500, that puts us at 9,500, plus Appaloosa, who's currently sitting at 2,400. So that's 11,900 that we had ready for him. It was a really good duel. We had an amazing opening hand that gave us everything we needed. We got the field spell plus 2 tuners, and we were able to activate, and we were able to end on Appaloosa and Dragite. So this is the ultimate turn 1 into turn 3 punch that you could probably get with Adamancipators. Now, this deck is mostly a turn 2 deck. That is the only turn 1 play we really have. If you can't end on Dragite, Appaloosa, you're kind of not able to negate too much. Your best bet outside of that is to end on either Boral Load Savage Dragon and what's his name? Clear Wing Synchro Dragon, I think? No, Crystal Wing Synchro Dragon. So that you have a monster negate and a magic trap negate. But you can only do that if you use Hauka Febrax, because Boral Load Savage Dragon requires a link monster in the graveyard. So now we're going to go with our turn 2 play. Again, against, I think, just somebody using characters at random. Unfortunately, I haven't run into too many people in ranked who are actually able to slow my deck down with hand traps and whatnot, because most of the time, when I get hand trapped, it doesn't actually stop me or slow me down. It just irritates me a little bit. So once again, we start with 2 tuners, which is probably the best situation we could. If you start with 2 tuners and a monster in your hand, you're usually good. I would love to have one of our magic or trap cards here. Preferably the magic card because we're going second, but it's still a really good hand. And our opponent, unfortunately, does not have any big first turn plays, even though they chose to go first. I'm assuming that this is a Chaos Max deck just because of the sleeves and the fact that he didn't really have anything to summon on turn 1. So I'm not really worried about anything other than hand traps at this point. So we're starting pretty much the same way we started last time, where we have our level 2 and our level 4, and we have the choice of summoning either one of our wall or our crystal, and then summoning Seeker afterwards, or we can start with Analyzer, go right into Seeker. Normally I do Analyzer into Seeker because that guarantees 4 monsters, as long as we don't get negated. And a lot of the time I'll find that it's better to not do what I just did here. It's better to summon Analyzer and then activate its effect, because if they have a negate, they'll negate that one, and they won't negate your summon of Seeker afterwards. So normally, the play you want to do is summon Analyzer, activate Analyzer, and then if they negate it, you summon Seeker, and then activate Seeker. So either way, you're going to have at minimum 3 monsters. So we're looking for a level 4 here. We get one in Overload. We're activating Seeker's effect, because I also want to see what else we have to use. We get a lucky draw here with the Dragite Crystal, which lets us draw a card. We drew Analyzer. So this is useless to us, unless we get Doki Doki. Because then we can toss Wall to get another card, and this card becomes our comeback play if we're not able to finish on this turn. So we're going 2 level 4s into Granite. Now normally, my first play here would be into Riptide to see if I can get the other tuner without using Granite. But I was a little bit worried about whether or not I would get hand trapped at some point, because he hadn't hand trapped me yet, and I don't know if he's just got his things off or if he just didn't have anything. But I wanted to guarantee that I got Researcher here. So I just grabbed Researcher. And then we summoned off of Researcher because I wanted to see what we had. We're basically, again, looking for Doki Doki. Yeah, because a level 4 would have been good, but Doki Doki gives us another monster. So we can now toss a level 4, summon another level 4. Now we have 5, which is perfect. Because now we're going to go 2 into 4, that'll summon Riptide. And now that we have all these monsters on the field, I don't think I need... No, I don't, because we can activate Riptide's effect to summon another monster, and then we have 4 monsters to summon Yeah, we'll have 4 monsters to summon our Link monster, and we'll have Seeker to turn Riptide into Dragite, which is what we're looking for. We want to end on Borrelsword Dragon and Dragite. So we're going to summon Halka-Febrax, who's going to summon another monster. And then we're going to Riptide, which is going to summon another monster. The reason we went into Halka-Febrax here is because normally you would not go into Halka-Febrax if you were going for Appaloosa, because Appaloosa's effect is that it gains more attack points based on the number of monsters you summon. However, Borrelsword Dragon has no such requirement. He just requires that you use 3 monsters. And Halka-Febrax puts you in the same state you were in, but he's a Link 2. So you have 2 monsters, but you have 3 Link levels worth of monsters there. So this way we're actually saving a monster in the long run, because we're also going to summon something off of Riptide here. And then we can 2 into 2 of these monsters that we don't need. And we'll summon Borrelsword Dragon. And then we'll go Riptide and Seeker into Dragite. And then Dragite can activate its effect to remove the only card that's in our way. Oh, that's right. I wanted to. I summoned both Block Dragons because we had 6 Earth-type monsters in the graveyard. But yeah, we're returning this to the hand. And then just to show how much of an asshole I was being here, because the match before this was really aggravating to me, I used only the 2 monsters I needed to kill. I summoned all of this virtually without... I was feeling very salty over the match before this. And I was being a little bit vindictive, so I was like, I'm going to summon all these, but I only need 2 of them to kill you. But that's basically what you want to do on turn 2. You want to summon Dragite plus Borrelsword Dragon, because Borrelsword Dragon can attack twice. That's 6,000, plus Dragite, who's minimum 3,000. That's 9,000, and as long as you attack with Dragite first, you get all 3 of those attacks, because you have to change Dragite to defense mode using Borrelsword's effect to attack twice with it. And last but not least, we have the last match that I played of the day before I had to start doing other stuff. It was against this Ollier player, who I made quite a few huge mistakes in this duel. And this duel ended up lasting 13 turns, which is the longest game of Yu-Gi-Oh! I've had since the newest generation started. I made some crucial mistakes here. I had the chance to win the game 3 times and drop the ball every single time. This duel was just a slobber knocker. We were just fucking slamming against each other, hoping for something. So, we start with actually a really good hand, in my opinion. We have the field spell, we have a tuner, which is always good, and Doki Doki, who I consider equally as important as tuners at the beginning of a turn. Because then we can summon Doki, we can activate the tuner's effect to summon it, and then we have Doki and tuner, and Doki sacks a card from our hand to summon another one. Unfortunately, this means we wouldn't have a monster for Twin Twisters. We have our field spell, but we are definitely going to play that because we need that for turn 3. Or for setting up for turn 3. So we wouldn't have anything for Twin Twisters, but if we set up properly, we don't need Twin Twisters because we'll have a negate for Magic and Trap, and we'll have multiple monster negates. So this is a really decent hand to start with, and we almost make a mistake right off the bat. So I toss this, we summon a level 4, we activate the field spell, we summon Researcher, we activate Researcher's effect. Hopefully grabbing a level 4 off the top. Now here's the first mistake that I make. Here's our board. It's not good. Or no, it is good. It's not great. Because we've only used one of our tuners. And we would like to use all 3 in our first turn, most of the time. So, what we should do here is we should use Researcher and Crystal Dragite to summon Risen Riptide. Because Risen Riptide will then summon another card, and that, if that's a level 4, we can then go into Granite, who can pull Seeker. But if it's our level 4 tuner, it's doubly good because we can grab the tuner. The tuner will then summon another monster, and then we can use the 2 level 4s we have to make Granite, who will grab Seeker, and then Seeker will summon another monster. That gives us the most amount of monsters we could get on turn 1. Unfortunately, I make the first misplay of the game right here. I go right into Granite to go grab Seeker. Summon Seeker, Seeker activates, we grab another monster. So we're sitting in this board presence. This board presence is not good in my opinion, because the best we can do is go into Riptide here, which will then summon another monster. If it's our level 4 tuner, we save the mistake we made originally. So the best play here is to summon Riptide, which we're going to do. And here's where the mistake happens. I activate Riptide's effect immediately. I should not have. I should have activated the field spell and guaranteed the level 4 was on top, along with another level 4. Most likely the Riptide one, because we want that one in the graveyard. But I activate Riptide outright, and I'm pretty sure we get nothing off of it. Oh no, we get a tuner we've already used the effect of. I think. Grab level. Oh, I thought we activated the effect. Alright, never mind. So we grab that. We draw a card. It's not a monster, which is painful. And then we go into Dragon. Now the problem here is I would have loved to have gone into this without using my Synchro monster, because I would love to turn this into Dragite and have Dragite here and then work from there. But because I put my Synchro monster up top instead of Granite, who I usually put up top because I don't need him for endgame, he's good for second turn, but not good for endgame. So usually we'll put Granite up top and we'll put Riptide down below so that Riptide is safe from having to link summon. Unfortunately, I did it backwards this time. So this time we're going to be short on monsters for what we want to do. Because from this situation, the best I could do is summon using 3 monsters, summon Appaloosa, and then we're just stuck here. Because I can summon Riptide again, but then there's no point. So instead, I do the crazy thing, and we go right into Appaloosa. Now my thought process here was we had a chance to summon Dragite right there. But Dragite's only a single negate, and he only negates magic and trap cards, which usually aren't the problem. Most of the time, the problem we have to deal with is monster effects. But without Dragite, Appaloosa is open to magic and trap card destruction, which is her biggest weakness. So without Dragite, she's out here pretty much with no protection at all, other than monster effects. The plan here was to summon Appaloosa, and then use Hauka Febrax to summon our Shooting Riser Dragon. I'm not entirely sure why I thought that was a good idea, but it was an idea. I guess I was setting up for next turn. Now I activate the field spell here, and I set up for next turn. We've already used all 3 of our Dragite level 4s, so we're grabbing the green one this time. The problem is, I make yet another misplay here. I forget what my plan is halfway through, and I just start going through the motions. So we summon Shooting Riser Dragon like we normally would. Now here's the thing. Normally, the first thing we want to do is activate this effect. We want to throw a card from our deck into the graveyard, usually our level 3 rock monster, to make this level 4. However, this time we did not want to do that. I did do it, but we didn't want to, because the second we do that, it reshuffles the deck. Which means everything we just used the field spell for gets reshuffled. And it undoes our plan for the next turn. So this is the second biggest mistake that I made in the game. I had a chance to fix the first one and didn't. Unfortunately, he uses a magic card to get rid of Appaloosa, which means we no longer have monster negates, which sucks. Shooting Riser Dragon has 0 defenses against anything, and he ends up destroying the field. We really need to save our hands. Luckily, we have a second copy in our hand. And this is where bad luck starts kicking in. We drew the only card I never want to see in my hand. Sentry Soldier of Stone is only useful to us in the deck or in the graveyard. And the only reason it's useful to us in the deck is for shooting Riser Dragon. We toss them into the graveyard to make him level 4. Drawing him is bad. So we have the choice of throwing Sentry Soldier of Stone out there as a defensive monster. But that means we don't have Twin Twisters. And judging by the fact that he has a face down and he's playing, obviously, some form of Blue Eyes deck, I'm going to want Twin Twisters to get rid of any of his background. So we're going to keep Sentry Soldier of Stone and Twin Twisters, and we're just going to set up for next turn. We're going to do what we tried to do originally again, and this time not fuck it up. And just for sanity's sake, I'm going to use Shooting Riser Dragon to destroy his 1800 type of monster, because he's clearly playing a Blue Eyes deck, and Blue Eyes needs 2 tributes, so I want to make sure that that's as hard for him as possible. So we knock him down to 1. He activates his trap card. I'm not entirely sure what this does. I'm pretty sure it just pulls spell traps out of the deck, which is really useful for Blue Eyes, ironically. It also, I think, protects Blue Eyes from like being destroyed or targeted or something. It's a really good card, regardless. I have 0 protection here. I have no negates. I'm pretty much open to just being massacred. I am worried about Chaos Magic Dragon, because I don't really have any players. He kills Shooting Riser, which sucks. But we did set up for the next turn, thank God. We would have been screwed. So here's where we make yet another mistake. I should have started this turn right here by activating Twin Twisters. Because I was not thinking at the time. I was a little frustrated with all the mistakes I had been making. And I didn't really think that these would be a threat. But I had completely forgotten that if this person is playing Magic and Traps that they're able to set from the deck, they probably have something that's going to stop bigger monsters. And he does. He does have stuff bigger monsters, and it ends up screwing him. But... So we go into play, and we activate Researcher to pull the level 4 up, which we put there ourselves. We can now add a card from the deck, or the graveyard to the deck. We're going to summon Raptide. We put Seeker on top because Raptide can summon Seeker. And here's where the mistake comes in. I should have destroyed this back row. The only problem is, there's no way I could have known this is the one I needed to destroy. I was definitely destroying this no matter what. So it was going to be a 50-50 chance whether or not I got this. But I do remember that this was a magic card. So I definitely would have targeted this one and the one that I didn't know. And I don't know why I did. So instead, we Twin Twisters, and because I know how Twin Twisters works, we are not going to destroy this card because it's futile. It's already been activated. We can't stop it. Twin Twisters does not negate, it only destroys. So we're going to destroy the other 2. We're going to lose Raptide, but we're going to put him in the same situation where he has nothing but 2 cards in his hand. Okay, so here we're activating an effect I don't use very often, unless we get past turn 3. This is very much a turn 4 or later play, where I activated the Crystal Raptide's effect in the graveyard, where you can take it out of the graveyard, put it on top of the deck, and you can take a Wind-type Synchro monster and return it to the extra deck. I've done this because we're going to need Raptide. So we're setting up now. I'm going to activate the field spell now. I'm going to guarantee that we get the tuner that summons itself when your opponent controls a monster. But again, I make a huge misplay here. Anybody who is paying attention to the cards that went on the top of the deck will notice it immediately. I did not pick a monster that the tuner could summon in those 5. I chose all cards I didn't want to see off of the tuner's effect. So I've essentially made it so that the tuner will not be able to summon anything. I'll get the tuner no matter what, but the tuner won't be able to summon. I'm not too worried about that until this happens. So I notice it after the 3rd card. I'm like, oh wait, the 5th card's the only one that could be the monster that I could summon, and it ends up being another tuner, which sucks. So we summon Sentry Soldier Stone from the graveyard just to have another monster on board. We can't summon Alchemy Rex because we've already done that, and I don't have a means of putting him back in the extra deck yet. I'm working on that. I do want to add a card that does that at some point, but I don't have one yet. We do this just for defensive purposes. We just want another monster on board to protect ourselves. He activated Monster Reform, which, oh god, I wish I had that card right now. That would save my ass. He summons back his Dragon Spirit. His Dragon Spirit destroys this. Now, originally, I thought this was a misplay. I thought he did not read my card effect, which is it can summon itself back from the graveyard as long as you only control a Rock-type monster once per turn. So I thought he was going to destroy that and I would just get it back. But I had forgotten that I didn't read his card. His card sacrifices itself and summons a Blue Eyes, and it's still the battle phase, so he can attack me. So he took out both monsters, and he made sure that the higher attack pointed monster attacked my attack position monster. So that was a really good play on his card, and the fact that I didn't even realize what his card did, even though I played that card in my own Blue Eyes deck, was kind of silly. So now, we're in this situation. We're staring down a Blue Eyes away. First smart decision of the game. Normally, I would have summoned Riptide in defense mode, and I would have passed the turn. But I'm looking at what he has, and I have 6,000 life points. He has 3,000 attack. He can't kill me with Blue Eyes, and it's not likely he'll be able to summon another Blue Eyes, unless he draws a really good card. So I make a gamble. I just pass. On the off chance that Riptide helps me summon a tuner later. Or I draw a Doki Doki and Riptide helps me summon another. So we take the 3,000 from Blue Eyes. Luckily he doesn't summon another monster, so we're still good. We're at 3,100. We're not too deep in the hole. The only life point that matters is the last one. And we get the God Draw of the Century. We get Monster Reborn. I was so stoked when this card came up. I was like, yes! We get our own God Draw of Monster Reborn. It's perfect. I had really wished that had been Adamancipators Sign, because Adamancipators Sign virtually does the same thing. It just lets me put a card on the top of the library as well. So we grab our level 4. Thank God. And we're going to activate its effect. And I believe we are going to grab that Doki Doki, if I remember. So we have a card. So we do. We can just toss that and summon another one. 2 level 4s. Going into Granite here. I believe this is our second time summoning Granite. This is one of, I think, 3 duels that I've done so far where I have this second copy of Granite, because I've found myself constantly in a position where after turn 1, I really could have used Granite on turn 3 to push forward and beat my opponent, but I didn't have a second copy, and I don't have a means of putting it back in the extra deck. But this is one of the first duels where I actually have a second copy of Granite, which ends up saving me. We grab Researcher. We summon Researcher because we control a Rock type. And then we look at the top 5. We're looking for a level 4. It doesn't matter which one. Alright, we're going to put Seeker on the top of the library because we're about to go into Riptide. And Riptide can summon Seeker. This time we do the smart thing of not putting it in the extra monster zone, just in case. Now we've already guaranteed that we're going to Seeker here, but we need another monster off of this, which thank God Seeker will get us. Now the plan originally here was to go from this board state into Dragite and Boral Sword Dragon. Unfortunately, we can't get there from here because we only have 1 tuner. And to do that, we would need 2 tuners. At least one of the level 2s and either one of, or any of the tuners. As long as one of them is a level 2. Because we need a tuner to summon Needle Fiber, but we can't do that this turn. So we have 2 options. We can either go into the level 2 tuner with Doki Doki and Guardian to summon Dragite, and then we have Dragite, Riptide, and Granite. Or we can go directly from Riptide and the level 2 tuner into Dragite, and then we can then summon our level 3 Link, which also has 3,000 attack. I think I made a minor misplay. I did do the right thing first. We do go right into Dragon, which we do now. This is definitely the better play, in my opinion. Summoning Dragonite off of 2 monsters as opposed to 3. But here's where the misplay happens. I should have activated Dragonite's effect right here, gone into the battle phase, and attacked with all 3 of these monsters, because the grand total is more than what I end up getting at the end of this, because I sacrificed the other 3 for a monster with 3,000. And these 2 together are more than 3,000. So we activate Dragonite's effect. We do the first part, right, where we return his Blue Eyes to his hand. But I end up doing the dumb thing of summoning the Link monster during main phase 1. I should have done that at main phase 2. So yet another misplay, and I'm just getting more and more aggravated as this game goes on, because I can't believe it's gone on this long. We're returning Raptide back to the deck, and the gem back to the We're hitting him for 6,000 here. He had 7,700. He's down to 1,700. We know that one of his cards in his hand is Blue Eyes. We also know the other card, or at least one of the cards, is Chaos Max Dragon, because we saw him pull it at some point. We don't know what the third card is, unfortunately. But we do know that he's got 2 Blue Eyes in his hand. So if he draws the Ritual monster here and attacks Dragite, we're kind of fucked. But summoning the Ritual monster will be very difficult for him, because he has to make me use Dragite's negate effect before using it. And Chaos Max Dragon is the only thing I'm really afraid of here, because even if he summons a Blue Eyes or Chaos Max Dragon, he can't kill both of them. He can only kill one of them, and that's all I'm really worried about. So this is our last turn, by the way. This next one that I have will be my last, because I have no plays after this. I am not set up for the next turn, and most of my synchros have all been used. Most of my tuners are still in the graveyard, so they're not in the deck anymore, so I don't really have anything else to do. He activates a magic card here, and I let it happen because I'm more worried about him summoning Chaos Max Dragon than I am him summoning Blue Eyes, which is what he's about to do here. So he summons Blue Eyes, and he stares us down. We got 2 3,000 point monsters on our side, 1 3,000 point monster on his side. This is clearly going to end in game, but the only question is how. I originally thought about this, and I was like, well, we could end this by having the 2 deck masters kill each other, and then I'll just kill him with Blackluster Soldier. But I decided against that, and we go with the Adamancipators way. We use Dragite to return Blue Eyes to his hand, and then we kill him with our deck master. But yeah, this duel was painful while it happened and after it happened, because I made so many mistakes just over and over again, not properly keeping track of which cards were where and how to use them properly. I've been playing Adamancipators for almost 2 years now, and that is the worst I have ever played them and still won. The Adamancipators, while being a very combo-heavy deck, do require that you keep track of where your monsters are on the field and how many of them you have at all times, as well as keeping track of which abilities you have activated and which ones you haven't. Because there's also a really cool combo you can do with the tuners, where you can summon them off of Doki Doki, and because you didn't use their special summon ability, you can still use it. But outside of that, that's mostly how you want to play Adamant. The first 2 duels are how you want to play Adamancipators, and the third duel is how you absolutely do not want to play Adamancipators. It was extremely painful to play this 13-turn duel, where I constantly made fuck-ups over and over again. I was just so aggravated from a few duels before this. It was actually before this one, too. So, this has been Sudiaku Masaska, also known as the Skillless One on YouTube. This is how to and how not to play Adamancipators.